Hello everybody, my name is Victor Santos. I'm a native speaker of Brazilian Portuguese. I was born in Brazil and I lived there until the age of 25 when I moved to the United States in order to continue my studies. I speak 5 different languages: Brazilian Portuguese, English, French, some Russian, and some Dutch. So I really understand what it means to have problems learning a foreign language, and because I've had to do that, I actually know quite a few techniques that I can use with you guys in order to help you understand the foreign language better and in order to save you time studying the foreign language, so you learn those concepts and you learn how to express yourself in as little time as possible. We really have to focus on what matters. High frequency vocabulary, get a lot of practice, and the most important thing of all is having a teacher who's extremely patient with you, one who knows a lot about his subject or her subject, and one that has methodology. I believe I have all 3 of those, having learned so many languages, having taught both English and Portuguese in Brazil for such a long time. I've also taught graduate students here in the United States, so a whole range, but also my whole education is in linguistics. I have a bachelor's degree in linguistics, I have a master's degree in computational linguistics, and I'm currently finishing my PhD in applied linguistics. So languages are my passion. I know how to teach them well. I know how to learn them well as well. And I want to pass my knowledge on to you if you become my student. I would like to give you a little demonstration of a class. So let's say you're completely new to Portuguese. You've never studied it before, and you look at words, you don't know what a verb is, you don't know what a noun is in that language. So I'm going to help you recognize them better and actually give you a little technique that you can use in order to start expressing yourself. So I've already told you a little bit about me. This is me in my Brazilian t-shirt at an event we had here in Iowa. And now we're going to take a look at Portuguese verbs. I'll give you a few seconds to look at those words and try to find out a pattern. How do you recognize verbs in Portuguese? Take a few seconds and think about it. You have the verb gostar, to like, comer, to eat, amar, to love, correr, to run, ferir, to hurt, and cair, to fall. So you can notice that all of those verbs, they have what in the end? Excellent. They have the sound h, which in Portuguese is the letter R. So every single verb in Portuguese, no exceptions, will have an R at the end, if it's the infinitive, of course. When we conjugate it very soon, you're going to see that we have different endings. But the way to recognize a verb in the infinitive is having that R at the end. This doesn't happen in English. You can have a lot of different endings: kick, love, like. Each one has a different ending. In Portuguese, the pattern is very stable. You always have that R. Now, you may notice that it's not only the R, but there's also something else that seems to be happening with those verbs. If you look at what comes before the R, we have 3 different things going on. We have those verbs that end in AR, like gostar and amar. We have those verbs that end in ER, like comer and correr. And we have a 3rd group of verbs ending in IR, like ferir and cair. Now, we have then 3 types of verbs in Portuguese, and these are the only possibilities we have in the whole language. So, from the perspective of verbs, learning Portuguese is actually not that hard. We know that in the infinitive, every single verb ends with R, and there's only 3 groups. Those that have AR, this is called the first conjugation. Those that have ER, this is called the second conjugation. And those that have IR, those are the 3rd conjugation verbs. Now, why does it matter? Why do we need to know how to differentiate between those 3 verbs? Well, the reason is that if we want to conjugate those verbs, the conjugational pattern is a little more complicated than in English, but once you know if the infinitive ends in AR, ER, or IR, the pattern is quite stable throughout the language. There are exceptions, but once you learn how to conjugate one of the verbs, today we're only dealing with the AR group, you actually can look at any other verb that ends in AR and you will be able to conjugate it as well. So you don't have to learn lots of conjugations for different verbs. Once you have a good model, all you need to do is learn the infinitive form of other verbs ending in AR, and you will be able to conjugate them on your own. So let's take a quick look. In order to say I like, we say eu gosto. Eu is the word I, and gosto is I like. So you can see that what we basically do is we remove the AR from the infinitive and we replace it with an O in the first person I, right? This pattern is very stable. Eu gosto. Please notice that we write an O, but we actually say U. If you pronounce the way you write, many people will find you a little bit strange in Brazil, so to speak, because nobody actually says gosto. We say gosto. So Portuguese is not exactly a very phonetic language, so when you're using a verb in the first person, it's always this U sound in the end. Você gosta is you like in the singular person when it's just one person. So all you gotta do is remove the AR and add an A. Você gosta? He, she likes. Ele, ela gosta. So you like, he likes, she likes is exactly the same pattern in Portuguese. All you gotta do is add an A at the end. Você gosta, ele, ela gosta. Now, we like, there are two forms. One, we'll use a more formal version, which is nós gostamos. So what you have to do is remove the AR and add AMOS. So I should have colored the A red as well. Gostamos, or you could say a gente gosta. A gente is more informal, but that's what actually people talk like in the streets and even in more formal events. Nós gostamos is more literary, so if you want to make your life easier and actually learn how to speak as Brazilians do, you will use a gente gosta for we like. For you guys like, in the plural form, we say vocês gostam, so you're basically adding am, and for they like, we're saying eles gostam, exactly like you guys like. So as you can see, there's basically 3 verb patterns that you have to learn if you really want to make your life easy and talk like the locals. You need the first person form, which ends in an O, eu gosto. The he, she, and the singular you form end in a, and actually the first person plural, we like, also ends in a gente gosta. So far just 2 patterns, and if you want to say you guys like and they like, all you gotta do is add am to the verb once you remove AR. Pretty simple, right? Now let's see if you can do it. Let's use the verb amar, to love. How would you say I love? Think about it. Remember, you have to remove the AR from the infinitive. You're left with am, and all you gotta do is insert that O for the first person. So we end up with eu amo. How would you say you love? Singular. He, she loves. Look at the pattern on the left. Very good. Você ama, or ele, ela ama. Excellent. Now, how about we love? You have the formal version, which is more literary, and you have the version with a gente, which is how people actually talk in Brazil. So how would you say we love? Nós amamos, or a gente ama. Excellent. How would you say you guys love and they love? Vocês amam and eles amam. Excellent. So now you actually know how to conjugate pretty much any verb in Portuguese that ends in AR. Now, what I would like to suggest is go to Google Translate, go to a different website, try to find 3 other verbs that end in AR, and try to conjugate them. There's no way you're gonna go wrong, okay? If you like my style, I would appreciate if you have classes with me, and I can't wait to help you improve your Portuguese. Thank you very much. Tchau, abraço.